I'd like to call this meeting of the Dalton Selectboard to order, please. Just quickly, no in-person attendance of members of the public will be permitted, but every effort will be made to ensure the public can adequately access the open session portion of proceedings in real time via technological means. In the event that we are unable to do so, despite our best efforts, we will post on the town's website an audio or video recording, transcript, or other comprehensive record of the proceedings as soon as possible after the meeting. Before we start, I just have one little correction. It's in the executive session. It says we will return to open session. We are not returning to open session. Okay. All those who are able, please stand for the pledge. And Joe, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. I'll do the roll call. Joe Diver.
Come on, Bob. How long have we known each other? It's Diver.
Oh, Diver.
That's okay. I'm here.
Okay. You
Okay.
sure you're not Diver?
I'm good. Yep.
Mark Stroud.
Here.
Dan Esco.
Here.
John Boyle.
Here.
Bob Bishop. Here. Intern Manager Sandy Urbano.
Here.
Okay. Okay, next we have the minutes from 12/14/2020. Has everybody had a chance to read them?
Yeah. Mr. Chairman, I move to accept the minutes of December 14th, 2020.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thanks, John. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, roll call vote. Joe Diver.
Yes.
Joe Diver.
Yes.
Mark Stroud.
Yes.
Dan Esco.
Yes.
John Boyle.
Yes.
Bob Bishop, yes. Okay. Next, we have minutes from 1/16/2021. Motion to accept?
I am, honestly, Mr. Chairman, I'm looking for the minutes of 116. I see 16, but not 116 in my packet.
Well, guess
He's
what?
right.
Yeah, you are right. It's 1/6/2021. Maybe I need new glasses.
I move to accept the minutes of January 6, 2020. I'm sorry, 2021, New Year.
Is there a second?
Second. Second.
Okay. All right, motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Joe,
Yes.
Mark,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
and Bob, yes. Thank you. This is the time when the public may address the board on any item listed on the meeting agenda or any issue or matter of the town. If you intend on addressing the board at this time, we ask you to do the following. Use the Zoom link or dial 684-6111, extension 28. Please identify yourself by name, address, or the company/institution you represent. The public address to the board segment will last no longer than 30 minutes. Please make your comments concise and try not to repeat statements made by others. Please address your comments to the board chair. Discussion or debate on any issue may not take place at this time. The chair or the designee may answer questions on procedural matters. Please be cordial and respectful of others. If anyone wishes to be recognized when the board discusses an agenda item, please make that request at this time. The board chair may grant this request, address comments to the board chair, and be concise. Is there anyone that would like to speak to any of the items?
And Mr. Chairman, you have a comment from Mr. Rose in the chat. I'm not sure which topic you'd like to speak to.
Henry, which one would you like to speak to?
with regard to the Green Dalton Committee.
Okay.
Is it my turn?
It's not up for debate or anything. You can say a statement.
Yes, I understand that. Thank you
Okay.
for letting me make a statement.
Okay, go ahead.
Full disclosure, my wife is a member of the Green Dalton Committee, and my brief comment is this. I understand that there is some consideration of possibly dissolving the Green Dalton Committee. This committee has saved the town thousands of dollars. These people do research on topics that other people don't have the time to do, and they've done good things for the environment. They've done things such as expanding the stretch codes for new construction and improving the streetlights to make them energy efficient. Why in God's name would you be considering dissolving this good committee?
It was 7.
Thank you, Henry.
Wrote down my name, my phone number, and all the seven names on the 7 squares I fit.
Sandra, if you could mute Kelly, she has an open line there.
Sure.
John, do you want to say something roughly?
I'd just like to speak on agenda item number 15 when it comes up for a few minutes or.
Okay, we're not going to have a full discussion. It's just basically going to be with the board and stuff. If you want to say something now, I'm not going to get into a back and forth, okay?
Yeah, totally. I understand.
Okay.
All right.
Anyone else?
Oh, Richard.
Richard?
Hi, Richard Hall, 164 Green Ridge Drive. Can I be recognized for item number 8?
Yes.
Okay. And the second thing, this is procedural. So item number 15, under the open meeting law, says a list of topics shall be sufficiently specified to reasonably advise the public of issues to be discussed at the meeting. So on January 21st, 4/21, it was issued as an email, Rebecca Slick memo, and then on the same date, at 4:50, it was changed to department correspondence. Then today, January 25th, 12/17, it was changed to department correspondence in reference to the Green Committee. Under section D of the same noticing post requirements, if an amendment occurs within 48 hours, not including Saturdays, Sundays, and legal holidays, then the date and time that the meeting notice was amended shall be conspicuously recorded thereon or there within. So with that being said, the agenda that's posted online hasn't been noted that it's been amended today. So that being said, can it even be discussed today, as it would seem that there may be a conflict with the open meeting law?
We change it, Richard, today to reflect it. We have the right to change items. It was on there, we didn't like the wording, and it was updated today. Because we have the right to update anything unreasonably within 48 hours. That's why the agenda says draft on it. And it's not going to be a discussion, Richard, that much. Trust me. John.
Okay.
So is this where? So there's not going to be a discussion. Is this where we're going to say our comments and that's it? Is that how you're going to do this? I'm just wondering how you're going to do this, because usually when you open session to the board, you call on the item number you want to speak about. Is this where we're going to do it? I know you don't want to get into this. I understand the whole discussion part of it. I totally get it. But I believe everybody on this meeting right now wants to discuss this issue, so, and I know you don't want to get into it, so is this where we're going to discuss it? Because it sounds like this is everywhere. Sounds like everybody's going to start discussing it right now.
Mr. Chairman,
just-
Go ahead and make your statement, John.
Mr. Chairman, just point of order.
Yes.
You can, this is a comment period, but not a period for debate.
Yes. You can make a comment.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, why don't we just wait till we get to 15 to start taking comments, because we're going to get sidetracked.
Okay, Dan. All right. We'll wait till everything to 15.
And
Okay? And I want to say something before we have any debate on anything or place when we get to 15, okay? And then we'll decide where we go from there. If it gets out of hand, I'm shutting it down, okay?
Chairman Bishop,
Yes.
I have some updates on COVID. I don't know if it was on the actual agenda, but at some point I would be happy to share that with the board when it's appropriate.
Okay. We can do that right after, we can do it along with the vaccine if you want.
Okay.
Okay, anybody else?
Bob? Cheryl here? Hi.
Yep.
I may want to comment on 15, so I just want to leave that.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Jenny? You're muted. I take it you want on 15 also? You on mute.
That's right, Bob.
Okay, anyone else? Becky?
Hi, I'd like to comment on 15, if
Okay.
it comes to that.
Okay. All right, so we move forward here. All right, first on the agenda here, item 6, a four-way stop sign on Central Avenue and 2nd Street.
Mr. Chairman, I emailed you and Mr. Filio of the Traffic Commission last week. Mr. Filio is requesting some more information. I'm going to provide that to him, and it's going to go before the Traffic Commission. I don't believe the Select Board needs to take any action at this time. Thank you.
Okay. For the record, Dan, I totally support this, okay? Because I took a ride down there and it is, it needs four-way. All right,
Thank you.
thank you. All right, I did see Leslie on there, I do believe. Next on the agenda is the Central Regional Virtual School District update. And I did see Leslie yet. Leslie, would you please update us? Is Greg Bueno with you also? Or?
No, he is not with me tonight, but he is, one of the things we did talk about, I can get, is that we would both love to come back maybe end of February. There's some, and just update you on our budget. We have some items that we're sort of waiting for some final numbers on before we can really give you specific information. So, but we do want to both come and give you that information. And I don't know if that just a general update is that we have a February 1st target date for return to a hybrid learning, which I think there's a projected storm around that time, so I'm hoping that doesn't happen. But aside from that, just to give you some information on what happens prior to that is we have a safety and wellness subcommittee that meets prior to that. And as part of that meeting, one of the things we do is we get information from a number of people. So one is we get a report from our head nurse, Kelly Jean Gallagher, and what the information that she gives us is the number of COVID cases in active cases with any of our buildings. She'll also give us numbers around, are there any close contacts? Like what are the numbers, if there are any, and what that looks like in each of our buildings. And she'll also sometimes just mention to us, for example, are there any trends and patterns? For example, the last report, the week prior, there were 7 cases the week, and then the most recent one, there were 2 cases. So we hear from her, we hear from the Dalton Board of Health, Jane Smith. I know she's here tonight. She's been extremely helpful. She really gives us the most current information around local data. So she'll give us, it's really very focused on the community and our 7 towns. So, but primarily Dalton, she'll focus on, Dalton right now is that it was the community that was identified as a red category. So she and I, she'll report out on trends and numbers and what that looks like. That's very helpful. We'll get a report from Dr. Dan Doyle, and he kind of gives us he'll give us information focused on the county. What are county-wide numbers like? What are the county-wide patterns? And then our interim assistant superintendent, Debbie White, she is our COVID manager, so she will give us around our health and safety plan, any updates from DESE around health and safety, any updates from DPH around health and safety, and just any concerns she might have around transmission or what's happening within the schools. So that is basically how we make the committee makes a recommendation. So based on that information, we do take into consideration all of those things and we make a recommendation. This week we'll be meeting on Wednesday. We have tried to, Department of Public Health data comes out, the most recent, but it just ends up being too condensed because we have school committee meetings those evenings. So we're going to probably be meeting on Wednesday. Again, we kind of depend on Jane Smith for some of that information to keep us updated and to make projections and predictions. And she's pretty good at that. So we feel pretty lucky. Like I said, I think for us, we really do want our students to return back to school. We want to see them. I think it's important to have them in school where these are not easy decisions. I will tell you that. It's very much weighing that, there are risks to students being out of school as well as risks from COVID. So those are the kinds of things that we weigh as a committee. Our track record is good, is great actually, for keeping students and staff safe. So even though we have had COVID cases in our community, within our school community, we haven't had any cases of transmission within our school. So within our school, any of our school settings. So we feel like we can keep everyone safe, as we sort of discussed that February 1 date, is that we now have in place something is the Binex Now antigen test. It's a rapid test. All of our school nurses have been trained. All of our school nurses can administer this test. The results of that test are credible. They have a pretty high accuracy rate. I think it's like 97 or 98%, but again, Jane might contradict me on that, but it's pretty strong. So you can base any quarantining or close contact information on those results. So what that does for us is, rather than if anyone in our school was to be identified as COVID positive, we could very quickly quarantine a remote. We were waiting on results. We don't have to wait on those results anymore. So that's another factor I think to consider when we think about bringing our students back in person. The other thing, we are looking at ways that we could consider bringing our youngest learners back K through 2 4 days a week. So we have a task force right now that's in the process of doing a feasibility study. And I think of course we want them all back, but right now we also feel the importance of keeping everybody 6 feet in terms of social distancing, but we are worried about learning to read remotely, our early literacy, numeracy skills for our little ones, and how we've had high attendance rates, but it's still a concern. One other thing, if some of you are hearing from the state, and I know I've gotten some questions from the community about something called pool testing. So pool testing is another way it's what's called surveillance testing. It's another way of monitoring the your school community, both students and staff. So the capacity, basically what it does is it's from the Department of Education, Massachusetts Department of Education. The idea is that the surveillance students and staff would be tested once a week. And then only the reason it's called pool is because it's less, I think there's a cost savings to testing more than one, or the way you process the results, doing it in groups of 10. And so that's something we've been looking at. I think our capacity to do that internally as a district would be really stretched. So right now I'm working with Berkshire Hills and with Lennox and Lee and the other superintendents to see if we can do something on a countywide level so that we're not, we're sharing in that, the resources, and it's not, the burden really doesn't fall on CBRSD nurses, because I feel like they've already taken on a lot. The next, I just wanted to update you on the new high school. The new high school is such a bright spot right now. It's beautiful. It's going up really quickly. It is on target. It's on schedule. They're working away despite some of the cold. They've got giant heaters inside. And I guess I don't know. I don't know the sort of the intricacies of the construction verbiage and that, but I can tell you that again, the important pieces are that we're on schedule, we're on budget, and it's looking great. So what we're hoping to do is create more than maybe a video or a virtual tour, or something more than just the pictures that I send out, because we really want you to be able to experience what we see when we go on tours. I know Mr. Rob, the building principal, has really worked hard to the transition by taking, I know the custodians just went on a tour. He has a task force group that will be helping all staff at Wacona with the transition. They've been on a tour, they've started those conversations, they've started that dialogue. And so really to make the transition as easy as possible for everyone, I think, like I said, I think it's a real bright spot right now. And again, the last, and then I'll take questions because I'm sure I've missed something, but in terms of budgeting, we're pulling together those preliminary numbers, but there are certain things like health insurance, the Berkshire health insurance, and they establish rates for us. So that's crucial in determining some of our final numbers. And Greg and I are more than happy to come. And retirements, we still don't have all of the information on retirements. We usually get our retirements by February 1. That has a big impact on our budget. So both of those things we're kind of, we're calculating right now and kind of putting the final numbers on everything. But we're happy, like I said, at the end of February to come back and give you some, present that to you so you have some idea, because I know it's an important topic, and I know that right now it's, with the new high school going up, I think it's better. More information is always better. So that's something we're committed to doing. And yeah.
Leslie, I thank you for keeping us in the loop here. This has been really good, especially the newsletters you started to send us. The updates you're giving us, I really appreciate that. It really helps. And I also would like to thank you and the whole staff up there for keeping this remote thing going. I observed my granddaughter on remote with Mrs. Robb. I don't know where she gets her energy, but it's not an easy way to do it. And I take my hats off to all these teachers out there that are doing this, and thank you.
Thank you. They're working hard. But I know, like I said, there's no replacement for seeing our students in person and giving them that kind of access to our resources, and sort of balancing that, like I said, with keeping everyone safe and keeping an eye on the numbers. Again, we feel fortunate that we have you as a partner, and this organization. We get so much support, and we couldn't do it without it. We really couldn't. And like I said, the support that we get from just overall, I know Mr. Diver has included us in a recent police chief search, and that just means a lot to us, because that partnership again is so important. We just knowing that we have a strong relationship with the police force just is so important in around safety for us. So we're pretty grateful for that.
All right, thank you. Is there any other questions for Leslie or comments?
Just a comment again, echo Leslie, what Bob was sharing about the remote learning. It's challenging and difficult, but I think all the teachers are doing a phenomenal job. The administration is doing a great job. And really excited to see the progress of the high school. And now that our residents are seeing the tax impact of that, the more marketing and great news we can share with them, the better. And certainly, I think your newsletters are fantastic, but we can spread that even further. It'd be great to do that as well. But I think it's excellent work across the board, and thank you for your leadership.
Thank you, Joe. That is actually exactly what Mr. Rob and I were just talking about, is really bringing a virtual tour to the community. So that's next on our agenda. So we'll make sure that we share that with everyone as well, because I think you're right. I agree with you.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you, Leslie. We really appreciate it. And I have you on the agenda for the end of February.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, next, it's a town employee vaccination update. Who is doing that, Sandy or Jane? Or Kelly?
Well, I think Sandy has some things that I think we both have things to say, but I think Sandy definitely probably put on there for Sandy.
Okay, Sandy, go ahead.
I'm sorry, I don't have any information regarding town employee vaccine update. I wasn't the one that put that on there. I'm not sure how that got on the agenda.
Well, Jane, can you address that?
Well, I can, how about I give you my update and then I'll tell you why I think it's on the agenda.
Okay.
So the governor announced today that they're going to be starting to vaccinate people living and working in Massachusetts that are 75 and older, starting February 1st. There's already there's the 3 sites in Berkshire County, and so those dates are furiously getting worked out. And so we would expect to have the links to those dates forthcoming and ready to put out to the public. The demographic of 75 and older are a little bit hard because not all of them have internet, right? So in order to participate, and ideally to participate, you would do an online registration. And so I'll be reaching out to Kelly. Kelly, I'll be reaching out to you to figure out how to really best reach the demographic of 75 and older, and also making sure that they have the assistance that they need to sign up. The online process is not difficult if you are computer literate, so you need to know what a link is, and there's just some basic skills that it's, I've done several people over the phone, and so as a town, I feel like we really just need to figure out how to best get the word out to the 75 and older population, and also making sure that we're providing the assistance that they need. Right now, I know that BCC is one of the sites, and there's quite a hill on BCC, and so I would suspect that some of the conversation that goes on with the boards of health through Berkshire County Boards of Health Association and BHS will talk about, really making sure that it's accessible for seniors to get up that hill. Apparently there's a really big hill. So those conversations are happening. It's been, I think, a little over 7 hours since it got announced, and so obviously we don't have a well thought out plan, but I do think that there's going to be a role and to help get the word out to seniors that are eligible, and I welcome you either. It can be now, it doesn't have to be now, but I welcome anyone to reach out to me, and so we can discuss the different ways to best reach that population. So that will be starting February 1. There will probably be 3 or 4 clinics a week available in North, South, and Central County. So there'll be plenty of opportunities as long as we have access to the vaccine. at some point, they'll open it up to 65 and older, plus and people with 2 or more comorbidities, which is a hard word for me to say for some reason. And then we'll get the word out. The important thing is for people to just try to work with us. We're going to be updating the website to include the Pittsfield has a hotline number. I work for Alford. We're going to be doing a mailing, possibly to people 65 or over that we know don't have email addresses. So again, we'll need to start working on that. As far as, so are there any questions on that?
You might want to put it on, ask John to put it on cable 13, channel 1301. That would help spread the word.
And just a comment, if we wanted to get volunteers to do a call tree or a call system, maybe the National Honor Society or kids from the high school, and even connect with the other Board of Health agents in the 7-town district of CVRSD. There may be a good volunteer opportunity for those high school kids.
Yeah, that's a great idea, Joe. I'm trying to find a pen. There we go.
How about code red?
Well, and it thankfully it's not that it's not, if someone knows how to use a computer, it's not very difficult. The one important thing that will be a little bit hard to track, I believe, is if someone doesn't have a loved one with an email address, it's really important for them to figure out an email to provide so that they get the reminder notification for the second dose. Unfortunately, whether they get the Pfizer or they get the Moderna, they'll need that second dose, and so that's one thing. Oh, that's a good. So, thank you for your suggestions. Yeah, put them in the chat, and I'll just write them down. But that will be a big push this week, and any ideas, just send them right at me.
Can I speak?
Kelly, is that you? Yeah, go ahead, Kelly.
Yeah, I would like to speak. I have a newsletter that's going out at the end of this week, and I plan on putting it in that. We've already notified some people today that we've been having contact with, and we've asked them to spread the word to their neighbors and their friends. It'll travel quickly. There are a couple of issues. The BCC site is not at the college. It's actually at the field house. So they don't have to go up the big hill to get there. However, their parking lot isn't the greatest. So they have like 3 or 4 parking lots down below. And if they have enough people, they'll wind up across the street. So, hopefully they'll be able to navigate that a little bit.
That's a really good point, Kelly. And we're having a meeting with boards of health tomorrow or Wednesday rather. And I would think that this will be a huge point of discussion is, with this particular demographic, even in South County, I help with the clinics down there, and it's a long way to walk. So we're going to be having wheelchairs available to help people walk those incredible distances. It's a really something to think about.
And just so you know, we've already committed to helping people register for the vaccine. Walgreens are doing them. The problem is our understanding is Walgreens is already booked for the month of February.
Okay, thank you for that, Kelly. Maybe tomorrow we can be in touch?
Yep.
Perfect.
Okay.
Speaking of the pharmacies, Jane, like Walmart and Market 32 and Walgreens now, when they start doing this, do they have to follow the phases? They have to do all this over 75 before they do anybody else again? Is that how it works?
It really is how it works. I have heard some feedback. The state's requiring or is suggesting that sites require a self-attestation form. I mean, honestly, the worst part of all of this is trying to vet people, but it's fair is fair, right? Like, and so then the problem is when people who aren't eligible sign up, not only does it take a slot, but also that vaccine gets taken out thinking that it's an eligible person. And if they get turned away at the door, then at the clinic, we're forced to scramble to either use a waiting list or call in other people in that phase to try to make sure that no shot is wasted. And to my knowledge, we haven't wasted any shots in Berkshire County, but it makes it very difficult. But they should be following it.
All right, thank you. Anything else, Jane?
So far,
Oh, Richard.
no, Jane, you first.
Okay, what I think that was, the reason why I think that this was on the agenda is at the last meeting, the select board had talked about whether or not we should incentivize. I'm wondering if I'm getting you confused with another town. Did we talk about whether or not we would possibly incentivize employees to get the COVID vaccine?
Yes.
And I think that this is especially for the second, so the first vaccine, most people just get like a sore shoulder. There are some exceptions, obviously, but that second vaccine, that second shot, so the first shot, you get it, your body's like, oh, something new here, let's go check it out. And then with that second shot, by the time you get that second shot, your body's primed and like essentially war ready. And so it's going to be a more significant react. I mean, for most people it's doable, but you know, I think especially if people aren't feeling well the next day, that there should be some latitude given to employees, if possible. If they get it on a Wednesday and they're not feeling well on Thursday, and Sandy and I have talked a little bit about this, but you know, I feel like it's in the town's best interest to work with people, and what that's going to look like, I don't have a recommendation, but just working with people and recognizing that it's when you have when your body reacts, muscle soreness, you might get a fever, you might not feel real well for 12, 24 hours, that's because your body is actually responding the way that it should be for you to get immunity. And anything that we can do to help people through that process, I feel like is a positive thing.
Yeah, and there's also another trend out there I've been reading about is that because the shot scheduling process is challenging, that you may not be able to pick the day that you have off. That a lot of companies are offering a half a day just to go get the shot. So you get the shot and you go home and relax and not worry about it. So they incentivize them that way, so they're not losing hours of time from work to go get the shot. So I've seen that trend a little bit, and I've also seen a trend of a day off if they're not feeling well after shot 2. Because at Jane's point, it's still effective, but this trend is that people feel a little bit more flu-like symptoms and a little bit more pain and things like that on shot number 2. So whatever flexibility we can do, I would support that.
Bob, can I ask Jane a question?
Absolutely, John.
Yeah, it's following what Joe said. Joe, when you're 75, every day's a day off. But anyway, Jane, about the shots, this is going to be the dumbest question you probably ever fielded. When there's a follow-up shot, do you have to get both shots in the same arm?
So we're recommending that you get it in the different arm. So we're recommending people get their first shot in their dominant arm, right? Which during the clinics I explained it 100 times. So it's not a stupid question, John. And then that way, when you're getting the second shot, so your immune system is already geared up and ready for that second shot. You're getting it in your non-dominant arm because it's going to be sore that second time.
Okay. And thank you. I think that's important to know, and people will have to note that when they go for the second shot that they want it in the opposite arm. Thank you.
Yep. And one more thing to that point is sometimes people will have like a joint replacement, so it's not hard and fast. There's some people that need to get it in the same arm, and they can talk about that with their nurse at the time of getting that shot.
Right. and although I agree with 75, every day is a day off, but we have the first responders who are ready to get their second shot coming up here, and other town employees too getting their second shot, right? Coming up.
Yep, I thought we were just talking about 75 people. That was the zone we were in.
Yep.
Oh, you're right, Joe.
The hard part right now is that the state is thinking about possibly sending Pfizer vaccine to some of these clinics. And the hard part about that is that, like, the first responders, I got mine with Moderna, but if you get your first shot Moderna, your second shot really needs to be Moderna. So we might find that the vaccination clinics are staggered so that people are getting their second shot at once because everyone got the Moderna and they're only offering Moderna that day, versus people who are getting it for the first shot, they might be scheduling them for the Pfizer because that's what we know we're going to have. So it's a fun puzzle.
All right, anything else?
Bob, Richard.
Okay, Richard.
So I've been behind the scenes BCC. So I think some of those comments were really good, and we're looking at how to make it a bit more safer for the 75-year-olds to get in and out of the building. The other thing to echo, as Jane said, was there's a new electronic system called PrepMod, and we asked them about 3 weeks ago what happens if someone doesn't have an email. They're hopefully going to have an answer middle of this week, but if you can put someone else's email in, that would be most helpful, because a lot of this will be automated emails to follow up on certain things. But there's a lot of people working really hard to try and get this to work smoothly, as I know Jane's been working down at the South County Clinic. So, but if you're not eligible to sign up, please don't sign up, because as Jane says, that causes all sorts of headaches throughout the system. I'll keep it short. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
No, those were great, Richard. Thank you. And thank you to Leslie Drager, who's our public health nurse, and who also, especially in Central and Northern County, has done, I mean, there's really no end to the work that she's been doing. So thanks for sharing your wife.
You're welcome.
Mr. Chairman, on the topic of the flexibility for time off, I'd like to just, for discussion for a moment, make a motion that we ask our town manager to bring a recommendation back to our next meeting of how to manage that, or suggestions.
Sure. Yeah, I'll work with Sandy on that.
Was there a second to that, or?
Oh, yeah, there's a second?
Second.
Okay, a motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Right, John?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And Bob, yes. All right, thank you. Anything else, Jane?
No, but I will say, sorry, I don't mean to say his name right, but Dave Flaherty. Dave Flaherty, thank you. I didn't realize, but you can get an email via text. So if anyone's watching this and says, I don't have an email, they can put their cell phone number at their carrier.net. So maybe we'll have some instructions for that and put that on the website. So that was an excellent suggestion, Dave.
Okay. Jane, do you want to update us on the COVID numbers by any chance?
Yeah, I can update you with the COVID numbers. I actually, we had a little, sorry that I'm looking away from you, I'm looking. There was a misunderstanding with the numbers, but I'll show you Dalton's numbers, so stay with me for a second. I don't know, can you guys see that? Is that too much? So here's the daily numbers. You can kind of figure up and down, but you can see we're on a downward trend.
Good.
That might not have been very effective, but we did see, like, we saw a peak in the numbers after the holidays, and we're still seeing some family transmission from that. Our public health nurse can talk more about that. She's the one that really is like more on the ground at reaching out to these people. But in general, our 14-day average is going down. We're on track. If we don't have a whole lot of cases in the next few days, we're hoping we can get into yellow. It remains to be seen, because you could have one family all come down with it, and it would greatly impact our numbers, because it's based off of the 14-day average for per 100,000 people. So for us, each case brings up our percentage point accordingly. So as of right now, we're heading in the right direction, but we're still in red.
Do you think the Super Bowl is going to have an effect on this with all the gatherings?
The answer to that, Bob, is that people gather, it absolutely is going to make an impact. Those are exactly the situations that are driving this disease. So, gathering, whether it's with family or friends, every time you get outside of your bubble of group of people, and you spend time in a house without a mask on, all it takes is one person at that party to have COVID, and it spreads very efficiently in those types of situations, especially with the variants that are coming in that are even more virulent. If people can just stay into their family group for Super Bowl Sunday, then that's the only way that it's not going to impact our numbers. And Leslie Bake Davis isn't here, but having those numbers really is what's driving our ability to get kids back in school in person. So I absolutely think that if people do not refrain from going to Super Bowl gatherings, even if it's just with one or two other families, it's going to bump our numbers again, and we're going to have to start working towards getting our numbers down. So I would really encourage people, just this once, please don't, have a Zoom Super Bowl party, but please do not get up with people outside of your family group so that we can start getting back to normal.
Thank you, Jane.
And just one last thing, Mr. Chairman, Jane, just want to make sure you caught Kelly's last chat message. I think it's a great idea, potentially using Code Red to get the message out.
That is a great idea. So I'll touch base with Dan.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next we have the CARES Act Coronavirus Relief Fund. Sandy, you want to speak on that, please?
Yes, I'm thinking that I touched a little bit on that last meeting, but I wanted to let you know that we have received our reimbursement for our request for the Coronavirus Relief Fund. It's approximately $76,000. And along with that, I know that's not part of the agenda item, but we've also had a request for Fema reimbursement for the same kinds of things. And we have been approved to be reimbursed for $9,800 with a FEMA grant for the coronavirus. So we just want to let you know that. We have the CARES Act money in our funds, and the FEMA money is on its way. And there has been an extension to the CARES Act, I believe, although we don't have details about what exactly we're going to be able to be reimbursed for, but it is extended to December 31st, 2021. So that's good news. I do know one of the things we're able to get funding for is to have like a vestibule where the public can come in from out of the elements but still remain out of the public building, and take care of their business that way, instead of outside the door in the winter. So we're looking at plans to do that, and that will be reimbursed through the CARES Act.
Wow.
Great idea.
And that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Sandy. Okay, next we have some appointments. The first one, or actually two.
Bob, can I make Kelly had asked in chat if she could comment on that, the appointments.
Go ahead, Kelly, you want to speak?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so the two appointments I just wanted to mention. Normally I get a notification if it's going to be on the agenda, and I didn't see it on the agenda until I looked at it about 6 o'clock this afternoon, so I wasn't able to extend the invitation to the two appointments to be at this meeting. So I will actually give you a little bit of background information on them. Sue, I'm probably going to pronounce this wrong. Sue Sohenowicz is a nurse, and she currently works for Elder Services, so she's going to be a huge asset for the Council on Aging. The other is George Morrell, and George was a contractor who was part of the building committee, the original building committee, and has worked with us for much better than 10 years. So I'm very thrilled to actually have both of them join us on the board.
Beautiful. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, and we also have the recommendation for Sandy for the same two people. So I'll entertain a motion to appoint them to the board.
We'll go, Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the appointment of Patricia Susanowicz, if we're pronouncing that correctly, to the Dalton Council on Aging Board.
Sorry, I got her name wrong.
I'm glad he said it, not me. Okay, is there a second?
Apologies if the person who's watching. Love to pronounce that correctly. Sorry.
Is there a second to that, please?
Second.
Okay, thanks, John. All right. Any discussion? Okay, roll call vote. John?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Bob, yes. Thank you, Patricia. We appreciate your volunteering.
And Mr. Chairman, for the second one, I make a motion to accept the appointment of George Morrell of 8 Raymond Drive to the Dalton Council on Aging Board as recommended.
Second.
Thank you, John. Okay, a motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. John?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
And Bob, yes. And thank you, George. We appreciate it. And thank you, Kelly.
Thank you.
Okay, next, we have an appointment to the police department. I thought I saw the chief and Becky on it. Okay, I believe this is for Officer Luke Perry. He was appointed as an interim officer on September 28, 2020. Officer Perry has requested to no longer be eligible for a regular full-time police officer in the future with this department. HRD Form 60A requires a select board approval in order to submit the form to civil service for their approval. Enclosed is the recommendation of Chief Anthony Riello, the HRD Form 60A, and the appointment of Lucas Perry as permanent intermittent officer for your information. Okay, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept the HRD Form 60A on behalf of Lucas Perry and move forward with the appointment as recommended to permanent officer.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Joe?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And Bob, yes. Okay, thank you, Lucas. Thank you, Chief. Thank you, Becky. Okay, next on the agenda is the electrical permits fee schedule update. We have a memorandum from Brian Duval and also from John Broderick, the electrical inspector. I'll read John's note to Sandy. He says, "Dear Sandy, I'm requesting the select board and you to review the proposed increases in the fee schedule for electrical permits. I'm asking for an increase of residential fees from $40 to $50 and commercial fees from $60 to $70 per inspection. The vast majority of the inspections done in Dalton are done in the residential areas. This increase would bring Dalton in line with the towns of Hinsdale, Windsor, for example. Attached is a copy of Windsor's fee schedule and Dalton fee schedule, which has been in place since 2013. Please let me know if this can be presented at the next select board meeting. The rates would be changed on the date should they approve the increase. If there are any questions on this matter, please contact me." And he gives his phone number there, okay? So I'll entertain a motion to accept the increase in the fee schedule.
I'll make the motion that we accept the proposed fee schedule for the electrical inspections.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, thanks, John. A motion's been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would like to understand more clarity on the increase rather than just comparing to other towns. What's the impact to revenue and expenses? And what is the financial reason to make the increase at this time?
Can I speak to that?
Please, Sandy.
So John Broderick has not had a fee increase in his electrical permit since 2013. And the way plumbing inspecting and electrical inspecting work is they're set up in a special revenue fund, and the fees they collect get turned over to the town, and then they get processed out to them. So the town has no impact of revenue or expense. It's simply in a special revenue fund. It's an agency type fund where they do the inspection, they collect the fees, they turn it over, and submit an invoice to be paid. That's how they work in this
So
town.
it's just a pass through there?
Correct.
Straight pass through there.
Yeah,
Okay. All right, thank you for that.
sure.
Okay. Hey,
A quick question.
go ahead, Joe. John.
Yeah. Hey, Sandy, is this John Broderick Jr. or is this John Broderick?
It's John, I think it's John Broderick Jr.
John.
Yeah.
Yes, Junior.
Is it the one that lives on East Italian Street, across the street from me?
Yes.
No, he lives on Ensign Ave.
So that's John Broderick.
That's a senior.
I think John Broderick Jr., who lives near me, is his assistant. I could be wrong about all this. That's why I asked for clarification.
And I think that's his son.
Right.
But John Jr. does most of the electrical stuff since his dad's in Florida most of the time.
Yeah, I thought he was a permanent resident there.
Yeah, I think he is. He comes back for a little bit in the summer.
He lives on Ensign Ave. 62 Ensign Ave.
Fine.
Are we all set, John?
Sure.
Wait a minute, let's just check this out. Who did sign this? Oh, this is John. His father signed this. Okay,
And his address is at the top of the memo.
right. Okay, we solved that one.
Not really, but anyway.
You?
Go ahead, Bob. No more, Adam.
Okay. All right, John.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Mark.
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Bob, yes. Okay. Okay, Sandy, next on the agenda is FY22 budgets.
Yes, and I sent information out to you all pretty late for this. This is something I expected to do over the weekend and I wasn't able to do it. I'm not sure, did you all get the couple of sheets that I sent?
No, I didn't get it.
Okay, great.
Yeah, a couple minutes before the meeting, but
Yeah.
do we have to vote on anything?
No, you don't need to vote on anything. I just want to explain a little bit how FY22 budget is going to work. All employees are, including the unions, are going to be given a 2% increase. The union contracts were settled with their COLAs set at 2%. And so normally when that happens, the non-union wage increases will also be 2%. So that is how the salaries are going to be. So on your spreadsheet that you see there in the FY22 column, the salaries are already increased by the 2%. So the total salaries for the operating budget will be around $2,958,582, with the exception of step increases. I've left the expenditures level funded. We have been level funding our expenditures except fixed costs for way many years, so some of those may change depending on the needs of the departments. I've also estimated our free cash at $1,000,001. That's not been approved. And I've also decided to reduce, due to that lower number than last year, the amount that we put in reserves. So if you look on page 3, you'll see in the middle of the block under the column of FY22 what I'm proposing to go to the litigation stabilization, the sewer stabilization, the general stabilization, and the capital stabilization. So this is all a floating budget right now because we're going to begin to, I'm going to send the wage matrix out to the department heads so that they can start formulating their budgets. And the other sheet that I sent you was sort of an initial budget review schedule with what I believe to be the regular meeting dates in February, a special in March, 2 specials in March and 1 regular in March. So anticipating to put before you those budgets that are in those blocks at those dates. And we'll hopefully get these all straightened out by the time March 22nd comes along. So do we have any questions?
The schedule looks good, Sandy, and if we get behind, we'll put another meeting in there. We'll do whatever we need to do to catch up, okay?
Okay.
Any comments for Sandy?
Great work on the draft and great work on getting it to where we are today. So I know you've been very busy, so thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I can't believe you got this done with everything going on. It's like, holy smoly. Okay, we all set, Sandy?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, items for future agenda. Anything, gentlemen?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would like to, I'm not sure if it's a future, well, it is a future agenda, it could be a future thing. I would like to recommend or request the police chief interviews for, if we have a special meeting on the 9th of February for 3 interviews, and follow up on the 11th, 2 days later, for debate, discussion, and selection.
The 11th.
If that works for everyone's calendars.
Yes.
Go. How many candidates are there?
We'll have 3 for the to the select board.
And you're asking or recommending that we do all 3 in one evening?
Yeah. Yep. If we start early. Yep.
On Tuesday, and then meet again on Wednesday.
No, Thursday.
On Thursday. Okay. Yep. Trying to get this straight.
Yep.
Yeah. Could everybody check their schedules and get back to me right away if those dates do not work?
Please state the dates again.
It's the 9th and the 11th, Dan.
Yeah, I would recommend, Mr. Chairman, I would recommend a 5:30 start on the 9th.
5:30?
Because then that'll take us to 8:30 if we do an hour per candidate.
Okay, and what about the 11th?
The 11th, I would recommend probably a 6 o'clock start, and that will probably take us, I'd say no more than 90 minutes to be on the safe side.
Yeah, we don't need to put a time limit on it.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, is everybody good? Just let me know as soon as possible on those dates, guys, okay?
Good with me.
Bob, it's good with me.
Okay? That's good.
Dan is good with, Dan said it's good with him.
Okay, so we're a go, because Mark can't participate.
Sounds good.
Okay. Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I think we skipped over town manager updates, so I have a couple of those.
Sandy, because I probably crossed it out without even looking at it. Yes, I did, I crossed it out. Go ahead.
Okay, I just have a couple things. I wanted to let you know that the bid opening date for the pedestrian lights is this week on Thursday. So we will have our bid opening and hopefully pick out a person who's going to finally put in those pedestrian lights, hopefully in the spring.
Great work to everybody involved in that.
Yeah, many thanks to Becky Slick, did a lot of work on that, and Steve Severia, of course, and we'll be ready to go soon. Also, I want to let you know that the Green Community Grant Annual Report for FY20 was submitted by Becky Slick and approved just recently. And the current Green Community Grant is underway for lights at the DPW, Cemetery Office, and Senior Center. The procurement of the lights was delayed a bit due to an ineligible certified municipal contractor, and as per discussion with our Green Community Grant Coordinator, the town needed to procure a certified municipal contractor who would conform to Chapter 25A. So Becky's been working hard on that, and it's well underway to begin. Just thought you want to know that information. There is one other thing, and the town was contacted by Visit Healthcare to have 8 rotating testing sites across Massachusetts, 4 sites operating each day, and they contacted us to see if we had a site in Dalton that would provide no-cost PCR testing to child care affiliated individuals, staff, children, and families who are symptomatic, close contacts who have been possibly been exposed. So we have been in discussion with them, and I was informed that the governor may have made an announcement about that today. I don't know if anyone's heard it, but we have not decided a specific site. We were interested, but I guess Dalton has been decided to be one of the site places. So, yeah, I thought you might like to know.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Comment?
Yes, go ahead, Kelly.
Well, they through Jane, they had contacted the senior center, so they do not need access to a building in any way. What they need is a place where they can drive in and then have the people come into the vehicles where they're doing the testing. So they just need a parking lot is essentially what it is. So we were going to possibly be that site. I had a couple of concerns because one of the dates is on a Saturday. So if there's snow, if they're setting up in the lower lot, people will drive in and go around the corner and then go through their vehicle. I'm thinking it's probably like one of the large bloodmobile vehicles. But if there's a snowstorm or something, or a lot of snow on a Saturday, we would need to be prepared for that.
All right, Kelly. Well, we got a good crew on the roads here, so I'm sure they can take care of you.
Yeah, but yes, the governor did mention that. I did tune into the governor's talk today, and he did mention that Dalton was one of the places. So it's actually going to be the only place in Berkshire County to do daycare workers, daycare children and the family of daycare children.
And Mr. Chairman, I just put the link to the governor's site, mass.gov, and that story in the chat. If anyone's interested in grabbing that link and reading more about it.
All right. Thank you, Joe. Okay, you all set, Sandy?
Yes, I am.
Okay, next, the one we've been waiting for. Okay. I'm gonna read two memos, or two things here, and then I got something to say, and then I'll open it up for comments, not discussion, comments. If it gets out of hand, it's shutting down, okay? Due to the ongoing tension between the Dalton Green Committee and many department heads, we feel the committee should be voted on in the next select board meeting and be dissolved. We do not feel singling out any one person will reverse the many years of issues. We also agree that these issues will negatively consume the new incoming town manager. According to the Town Managers Act, he or she is responsible for applying for grants and delegating this responsibility to correct department heads. We further ask that this future energy saving grant opportunities go through the town manager and the current Green Committee's grant program remain in the planning department. This decision will not come easy. We can all agree that these issues have been consuming many of us in negative ways, and as town employees, we need to move on in a positive way and work together with our new town manager. And another memo sent from Ed Fahey to Ken Waldo on February 7th, 2020. Hi Ken, if you have time next week, I'd like to know when you might be available to meet with Jane, my possible replacement health agent. She said she's free except Fridays, so if you let me know a few days, time's good for you, I'll get back to her and try to set it up. She said she would like considering working as a consultant on an interim basis until the permanent job details are decided, which will be helpful and ensure continuity of the Board of Health. Also, I saw Jenny's email to Matt. Apparently, the Green Committee feels they can pass mandatory regulations, not the Board of Health. Continuing to confuse these issues and redundantly contracting Pittsfield instead of letting you do your job is hindering the success of this project. The Green Committee has effectively stopped acting as an advisory board to the Board of Health. It is my own opinion, but you may want to consider asking the Select Board to disband them. Okay. I, at this point, am totally against dissolving a volunteer board because number one, it sends a wrong message. Number two, I want to get to the bottom of this. If it's okay with the board, I would like to review with the people that signed this petition and ask them for specifics, examples, and if they had any response back to them, if anybody's talked to them about this, that's what I need to know. And likewise, when I get everybody's information, I want to sit down with the Green Committee and go over it and see where we can go. I think this is something that needs to be done rather quickly. If the board so approves, I will be glad to get on to it. I've already talked to a couple people, and it breaks my heart. I think the whole thing is a lack of communication. Sometimes it seems like a lack of consideration, but I think when people get mad, it just inflames the situation. So if you guys would give me a chance to try to resolve this before we disband a volunteer board, which has done a lot of good in the town, there's a lot of talent there, I would appreciate it. So I'm opening it up for the rest of the board comments, then I'll open it up to other comments. And just comments, we're not going to debate.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to give you that time and then review the feedback or review the outcomes of that with the incoming town manager, so he or she can then evaluate next step.
May I ask a question?
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Well, that's my question. Why do we always have motions put on the floor that kills debate?
Yes.
The motion.
This motion would only kick the can down the road for 2 or 3 months.
I'll second.
I think this petition is asking for immediate action because of the 7 years of grievances that occurred to myself and other members of the town government are prepared to articulate.
John, you want to vote on that motion now? I don't think it's going to pass, but we can do it if you
I'll
want.
second that motion for the purpose of discussion.
Okay. Okay, the motion's been made, the second is to give me a chance to talk to everybody. And it's been seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman.
Go ahead, Dan.
So, I agree. I think a resolution is necessary. There's obviously miscommunication and tensions, resulting tensions between town employees, department heads, and the Green Committee. I would like to learn more about the specific issues. I will note this letter was signed by 8 department heads in town. So I think it's very valid, their concerns. The Green Committee presented to the Select Board, I would say maybe almost a month ago, some of the initiatives and activities that they have conducted since they've come together, which I think have been valuable. And then there was a rebuttal to that in a letter from the town planner, Rebecca Slick, that cited several errors in the numbers that were presented to the Select Board. So I think this is deeper than just taking a vote on disbanding. At the same time, I believe that the role of the Green Committee should be clarified, and I thought we had done that, but I don't know. I'd want to work in the interest of efficiency of the board's time, and I feel like this issue has the potential to take us down a rabbit hole that maybe we don't need to go down. I guess in conclusion, I'll say I'm more in support of trying to figure out what's going on than I am of just disbanding. So that's kind of where I stand. At the same time, I understand the grievances, and I'd like to learn more.
Yes, that's why I want to learn more also.
Well stated, Dan.
Okay. Okay, there's a motion been made and seconded. Is there any further discussion?
Bob,
Go ahead, John.
could you repeat the motion in regard to yourself? Because I think you made it. Is it
Yes.
this just as pertains to you looking into these allegations?
No, I'll be glad to have one or two people help me.
No. I just want to make sure. Now,
Yeah.
there was another conflicting motion made earlier.
Was for me to investigate, talking to the people that signed the petition.
No, I'm fine with that. And not to be limited to people that signed the petition.
No, I'll talk to anybody who wants to talk about it, okay?
Okay.
They just gotta get a hold of me.
I know it's a difficult situation for you, but do you have somewhat of a timetable you can report back to the board so we can take action? A yes or no vote on this petition?
Give me 3 weeks, or give me to the last meeting in February, okay?
Sounds good.
All right. Okay. All right, roll call vote. John?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
And Bob, yes. All right, now I'll open up for comments, please. And then when we get back, 3 weeks, or the last weekend, last meeting in February, when we get back, I'll entertain everybody's comments and whatnot after I present what I found out, okay? So anybody who wants to comment now, feel free to. John, roughly.
Thank you. 30 seconds. Real quick, if anyone on this board has done their homework since December 14th, then they heard a member of the Green Dalton Committee say they have no faith in this select board during a public meeting, which is fine. Nothing is wrong with that. Everyone has a right to express their opinion, right? What I'm asking tonight is that you have faith in these department heads, 8 people and volunteers that have all had interactions with this committee, and give them a reason as hardworking town employees to have faith in this board as well. And there's my statement. My one comment is, Bob, I don't think any of these members, I think everybody's done discussing it. I think all the evidence is out there. Nobody wants to discuss it anymore. Whatever's discussed tonight is going to be it. Whatever this board decides to do is going to be it. But this board knows how we feel and how it's going to go, and that's it. We're done. I mean, there's no discussion. Thank you for that 30 seconds.
Okay, I just want to reiterate, John, I am not going to put up with any town employee being verbally abused or anything like that. When Ken first retired, I was sitting over the town hall, and I saw people walk up in the street and start yapping at people in the town hall. That's not the way to do business, and I'm not going to allow that to happen, okay? So we're going to come to some kind of conclusion here where we all get on the same page, okay? That's what my aim is here, because there's some really
I thoroughly
good
understand, Bob. I get you. I understand.
All right, thank you, John.
You're welcome.
Anyone else?
Can board members make a comment, or would that be part of a debate?
What's that, John?
Can a board member make a comment, or would that be part of a debate?
No, you can make anything, John. You're a member of the board. Go for it.
It's interesting to hear John talk. Regrettably, in my own personal opinion, interaction with the Green Committee on John Ruffley's part as tree warden led to his resignation, which is going to be really hard. We haven't talked about this, the board, but it's going to be very difficult to replace them. Tree wardens don't grow on trees. But it's a direct result of the defamation and lying about his activities regarding trees that led to his resignation.
That's part of what we're going to find out,
okay. It's got to get on the record. And Bob, I'd like to just say one other thing. I'd be willing to share this with anyone. This is a copy of the 2014 town report. This is when we were all kumbaya with the Green Committee. They got a grant from the town for $142,000, $142,725. Ken Walto, as he is, as a modest guy he is, he was the largest part responsible for writing that grant. But the Green Committee took all the credit. But if you look on the back of the town report, the back page, it says right here who actually wrote it. Ed Fahey, the health agent at the time. So, you know, it's nice to get along with these people, but they make it awful difficult.
All right.
And I have this available. Yep, I have this available for anyone that cares to view it.
I will be glad to look at it. Anyone else? Dan Filio, did you want to say something?
I believe that the information that was provided through John and Becky, if reviewed, shows the problems that is inherent upon what's going on with the Green Committee. I've worked with a number of them on different things, and I haven't had a major problem with them when I work with them on there. Difference of opinions, yes. But I think that the act of openly, at a meeting, openly defaming other members of the town, employees at a public meeting, recorded meeting, is beyond the pale. And it should not be allowed.
Okay.
That's
thank you, Dan. I appreciate that. I'll be talking to you also, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Becky, you want to say anything?
Yeah, thanks, Bob. I think I don't really want to point fingers. I really do want to work together. But after I went back and I listened to a lot of the Green meetings, after that December 14th meeting, I was pretty appalled at the bashing of my coworkers, specifically Ken, who spent 19 years of his life working for the town. And the fact that they came up with a 21-page slideshow that no one got a copy of in advance is concerning to me. There was a lot of misrepresentation of the information. And I really don't want to work with committees that don't have the town's best interests and that are self-serving. And I don't feel like the new town manager should have to deal with this. The committee has basically lived out its useful purpose. And to be quite honest, I'm going to take the blame. I am the one that put together the petition to dissolve the committee, and I'm okay with saying that. But I mean, I got the idea from Joe Diver, and originally I was just not even gonna do the green grant anymore, and I was just gonna give it up. And then I thought, why would I give up 4 years of working on this grant for people that are just gonna bash my coworkers? I don't think it's healthy for a volunteer committee to work against town staff. It's not healthy, and I'd like to resolve it.
It's gonna get resolved.
I don't have this problem with any other committee or board that I work with. I get along with all my coworkers, all the committees, everybody. And I've just never in my life logged on to past recordings and seen volunteer committee members bash my coworkers. It's not right.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Cheryl?
Bob?
Go ahead.
I want to commend you for taking some time to look into the issue. I just want to make just a couple of comments that I think a lot of the people who signed the letter, I don't know, 8 people said sign the letter or something like that to 8 town boards. Most of them haven't worked with the Green Committee. So I think that's interesting. And I think it's important to also note that nobody but Ken, so not Becky and not John, ever came to a Green Dalton committee and spoke to them. I think they signed on and muted themselves and were invited to speak. John was actually on the agenda, but didn't speak. When we spoke to him, we were like, are you there? We can't hear you. So I know we never spoke. And I think as any professionals ought to, when you have a problem with somebody else, it's good to go to them directly and discuss what the problem is and see if it can be resolved. I know that many people, the people on the Green Dalton Committee have spent many of their own hours and given of their time because we all care about the town to do things. And a lot of we've been very frustrated, and if Becky listened in and heard our frustrations, that doesn't surprise me. But we tried previously to address problems with the chairperson of the select board years ago, and nothing was done. And it was recommended to us by our select board member to make a presentation to the select board to try to resolve some of these issues and clarify what our role was and what we thought we could offer to the town as a value. So what I'm hearing and what I saw in the planner's comments, Becky, a lot of her responses really showed a lack of communication, probably because Ken was kind of a wall between the Green Dalton Committee and the town planner. So she seems to be very unaware of the efforts and the accomplishments of the Green Dalton Committee and what Ken did versus what she was attributing things that I know were done by members of the Green Dalton Committee to Ken. So, and talking about just making comments about people and defaming them, whatever. I mean, I'm hearing what's being said here and it's not terribly nice. So, that's all I have to say. So I'm glad you're going to take some time to try to, and I think it would be good if people could talk directly instead of in these kind of backwards.
We'll work all that out, hopefully.
Yeah, I hope so. Since we're all adults and we all care about the town.
We're all Dalton. We all care about Dalton.
That's right. Otherwise, we wouldn't be doing this. I just do something else.
Anyone else? Okay. Then we move on. I just want to thank the board for letting me at least try this. I appreciate it. And the town department heads, please be patient. We will get you answers. Trust me. Okay. Remarks of the select board. Anyone?
Groundhog's Day's coming up pretty soon.
Go ahead, John.
I said Groundhog's Day's coming up pretty soon.
Gonna see the shadow or not?
Hard to tell.
What do you guess?
I say yes.
I thought every day from the last year was Groundhog Day.
I think so.
Mr. Chairman, I just have a couple of general remarks just for the select board is that we have our police chief assessment program, which is going to be held tomorrow. So we will have the finalists ready, as I mentioned earlier, but just that will be probably about a 4-hour session. And I just want to thank our members, Kelly and members of the Senior Center for hosting that event. So it'll be tomorrow.
Okay, when are we gonna find the names out? I have no idea who we even got there yet.
Yeah, I'll be releasing those once we get the assessment scores. The selection committee is going to meet Thursday evening. And that's when we will decide on the finalist and then publicly report the finalists.
Okay, fair enough.
Bob, can I have a quick question for Joe?
Sure.
Joe, I saw in the minutes here of the meeting of the fourth, one of these meetings, minutes we picked over tonight, that Mike Hinckley is not on the committee anymore. But then there was a rumor he moved to the Cape, but then he moved back. Do you have a status report on him?
Yeah, no, he's not on the committee because he moved to the Cape temporarily.
Yeah.
So
you didn't ask for a replacement?
Nope.
All right, thank you.
All right, any other member? All right, select board chair updates. I don't have anything other than a big thank you. And everybody in the town hall that works for the town, we do have your backs. We understand what's going on. You don't have an easy job, and I am not going to put up with disrespect if I find any along the way. And I just thank everybody else. I thank all the committees and boards throughout the whole town for what they do. And it's very hard to get dedicated volunteers. So we're going to resolve this thing one way or another, and I'm going to try my darndest to get it smoothed out, okay? Let's see. That leads us to our announcements. Glasses. Town Hall effective 11/16/2020, the town of Dalton will be closing the Town Hall, Senior Center, and Highway Cemetery offices to the public. All offices will remain staffed and be available by phone or email during the normal business hours from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Monday through Thursday. Please see the Town of Dalton website for department information. I just want to also add that there are boxes outside if you got payments on a Saturday or Sunday or any other day, even after Town Hall's closed. And if you just come in, put them in there, we get them. Okay, this is another one, the open meeting law ruling. The Division of Open Government recently issued a determination that it's a violation of the open meeting law for the chair of a public body to fail at the start of the meeting to identify by name the members of a board who are attending remotely. And I do believe, I checked, and I do believe just doing a roll call covers that. The open meeting law regulates state that at the start of the meeting, the chair shall announce the name of any member who will be participating remotely. This information shall also be recorded in the meeting minutes. Failure to announce the name of any member participating remotely is a violation of the law. CRA Winter Wonderland, December 19th to January 31st. This event is outdoor safe, fun walk allowing families to celebrate the beauty of the holidays. Opening night will be a social distance event requiring pre-registration and masks. Visitors will pick up a CRA property map listing location of trees sponsored and decorated by local businesses. Mixed throughout the trees will be sponsored stations for kids to pick up goodies and crafts to go. You can call the CRA for details at 684-0260. The transfer station new FY21 prices. The first vehicle is $115, the second vehicle is $40. The bags are for a 30-gallon bag is $4 for a package of 10, $40. 15-gallon bags are $3.30 for a package of 10, it's $33. For a complete price list, go to Dalton-Mass.gov and click on the transfer station button. The brush area will close until April 20, 2021 or further notice. A message from the Dalton Police Department. The Dalton Police Department lobby is now open to the public. Feel free to stop in and see an officer. Social distancing and masks are required, and only 2 people are allowed in the lobby at a time. The processing of firearms permits. Firearms permits are processed between the hours of 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. by appointment only. Please call 684-0300 to schedule an appointment. No walk-ins are being accepted at this time. A check or money order for the $100 made payable to the town of Dalton. Renewals over the age of 70 are free. 2020 to 2021 winter parking ban. The Dalton Police Department is reminding the citizens of Dalton of the winter parking ban, which goes into effect on November 15th, 2020, and will be in effect to April 15th, 2021. There is no on-street parking allowed between the hours of 1 a.m. and 6 a.m. during this period. The Dalton Library is now open 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Monday, Thursday, and Friday, 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. on Tuesday, and 12 p.m. to 8 p.m. on Wednesday. Anyone in a high-risk population may schedule a time in the morning to come in by themselves with no questions asked. Lobby pickup continues for anyone who would rather not enter the building. Please call 684-6112 for more information. I declare an open meeting will have a detrimental effect on the no.
Mr. Chairman,
and not return to open session.
can I ask you a question about this first?
Sure.
Are we, hey, maybe I'm all wrong here. Aren't we supposed to have a separate number, Zoom number for an executive session?
Well, we're going to cancel everybody off, John, and lock everybody out and come back. And we're going to do a new recording.
Yeah, but can't somebody still log into our meeting?
No. They won't be allowed in.
Okay, whatever you say.
Yep. Okay.
Just to clarify before we leave, Mr. Blow, there's a waiting room so nobody can automatically come in. That's actually a new safety setting from Zoom because there's been so many what they call Zoom bombs, people coming in that shouldn't be in.
Yeah.
But there's a good control that Sandra has on her side. So.
I only asked that question because in past practices we had a separate Zoom number for the executive sessions.
Yeah, it's actually an update that Zoom did maybe about a month or 5 weeks ago.
Great, good. Let's give it hell.
Okay, I need a motion or a second.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. John?
Yes.
Joe?
Yes.
Mark?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Bob? Yes. We'll take a 5-minute break and please lock everybody out.